So about 24 hours ago, we witnessed the Genius Stablecoin Bill pass in the Senate. And of course, we do know that next up is the House and then Trump signing this bill. Now, we did talk a little bit about this, right? The dollar 3.0, on-chain, one-to-one, all that kind of great stuff that Ryan Sean Adams actually outlined. This is definitely a huge moment. But what we just witnessed announced from Trump could just shake things up completely around this bill, because it feels as if the US is now trying to accelerate this bill, get this completely passed through, and go all in on US dollar-backed stablecoins. This is a very big moment for crypto. I want you guys to understand that, right? Like, I don't even think I can put it into words on how bullish this overall moment is. This is that green light moment, essentially, where once this bill is fully enacted, okay, it is up only from there for stablecoins, for, payment use cases, for DeFi use cases, banks as well to dive on in. I mean, this is going to be a huge, huge moment. Now, as we do really kind of look at it like that, all right, we also have to address what's going on, all right? For an example, recently Hunter from Bitwise put out a post in regards to what Scott Bessent said. And he said 2025 is the first year that the US government wants to see crypto succeed. And yeah, it is the first year where we actually have the government on board. It's a sea change. The impact is wide and hasn't even fully revealed itself yet. It's the start of the mainstream era. And yes, this is why this is such a huge moment, because it really is the start of that mainstream era. Now, he's responding to that post that I did outline in a previous video from Scott Bessent, talking about how big the stablecoin market is and how big it could grow by the end of the decade, aka in the last 5 years that we're kind of diving on into. And really the demand that stablecoins actually have and what it does for the US market. This is also that post that I said is basically confirmation that the US is going to go all in on these stablecoins. But we have, over here, my response to what Hunter did say, and I said that I think this space is really underestimating what can happen in just 12 months. With an economy the size of the US accelerating and integrating this technology, prepare for a violent wave of adoption. Mass adoption and trillions of dollars on chain could happen faster than any of us think. It all begins with the largest global economy rapidly passing legislation that unlocks the doors to crypto. Welcome to the 21st century financial revolution. And that's exactly what this is. Okay. And we've been hearing from very prominent names, not just Scott Bessent, right? But also individuals like David Saxs, for an example, that are telling us that they want crypto to live in the US in a big way. We obviously know crypto is going to be everywhere, but they really want the US to be a leader behind this tech. Now we have here from David Saxs, he's saying, "Thank you, President Donald Trump, for delivering on your promise to make the USA the crypto capital of the planet." Now, if you guys don't know what he's actually talking about, this is in response to what Donald Trump actually put out on his Truth Social platform. We have the Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. Digital assets are the future, and our nation is going to own it. We are talking about massive investment and big innovation. The House will hopefully move lightning fast and pass a clean Genius Act. Get it to my desk as soon as possible. No delays, no add-ons. This is American brilliance at its best, and we are going to show the world how to win with digital assets like never before. This is a huge statement. Now, on top of that, Eleanor Tourette did post this, by the way, but she did a response to it and said, "I'm hearing Trump's message has sparked a flurry of calls from industry stakeholders to the Hill with questions about what his directive could mean for the passage of market structure legislation, which the House is considering moving alongside stablecoin legislation in a bid to get both across the finish line by Trump's own August deadline. And so it begins was one House member's reaction. If this happens by the end of August, I want you guys to understand what's about to hit this market. If Trump is serious about this, and if we do hit that deadline, this market in the US and outside of the US is going to erupt like no other before. Okay, this is going to be bigger than the internet. This is going to be bigger than any other tech innovation out there. This is really going to light the match to really set ablaze a massive amount of moves. Not just, price action, but we're going to see moves made by institutional players, asset management companies, Wall Street giants, companies, enterprises. If we get this done and we have clarity for crypto by the end of August, I want you all to understand that we need to buckle up and prepare. Because I don't think that we will be in a rush to be selling. I think after that, we will start to see a utility bull run happen. And it's out of anyone's overall thought process on exactly where we top at, what exactly happens going, forward as well. Because if utility is going to be the main value driver, then there's not going to be, a massive sell-off. There's not going to be a huge bear market. This is where we start to really watch the market open up. This is very exciting. Now, on top of that, David Saxs did talk about the Stablecoin Bill. He did talk about how it's going to boost dollar demand. Obviously, this is a common theme. But big shout to Riz XRP for this, because there's a lot that was said during this video clip. Check it out.
No, I think that the Stablecoin Bill is very helpful. It provides regulatory clarity and stability for the stablecoin industry. Like you were saying, there's already something like $250 billion in float of stablecoins, and that's out without there being a true regulatory framework in the United States. Right now, the number one issuer of stablecoins is offshore. And what this bill would do is provide, like I said, the regulatory clarity and safety. It would bring the whole stablecoin industry onshore. It would enhance consumer protection. The issuers of stablecoins would have to get audited on a quarterly basis. Consumers could be confident that their dollar-based stablecoins were reserved on a one-to-one basis with actual dollars in U.S. bank accounts. And I think this would increase confidence in the industry. And I think that you would also see banks getting into the act. I think you'd see traditional financial players getting involved in it. And that's why the float is expected to grow from, call it, roughly 250 billion to trillions of dollars. And that would create more demand for the U.S. dollar internationally. I think you could see other economies start to dollarize from the bottom up as their citizens would prefer to use U.S. digital dollars as opposed to whatever fiat currency they're using. And that would create potentially trillions of dollars of new demand for U.S. Treasury. So I think this bill is a major piece of legislation. I think it's a fantastic bill just on its own. I think that the House should go ahead and take it up, and I think they will take it up, and I think they're going to put it on the president's desk very soon.
What about businesses taking it up? As you say, people waiting in the wings, reports Amazon, Walmart wanting to have their own stablecoin issuance. What is the regulatory oversight going to be like? You say, of course, it's put in stone in terms of the law. What about the resources for the regulation? Because there's going to be a lot to analyze, it feels like.
Yeah, so stablecoins will be under the purview of the banking system, and banking regulators will look at that, and stablecoin issuers will have to go through a regulatory process, and they'll get approved. And like I said, there'll be quarterly audits. And I think that the bill will provide the framework that will give confidence to a lot of traditional financial players to enter the space. And so I think you're going to see new stablecoin products, and I think you'll also see stablecoins being used as payments. I think this is one of the really exciting things about the bill is that blockchain infrastructure will be used as a new kind of dollar-based payment system.
Yes.
That's faster, it's more efficient, smoother. It's a payment system of the future. It's kind of ironic that when the crypto industry really started with Bitcoin about 15 years ago, what was anticipated is that you would get a new kind of currency. You would get a non-fiat currency. But as it turns out, a really important use case of blockchains has been to support digital dollars, to support tokenized dollars. And I think you'll see the extension of that payment system online with that legislation. And that's a really exciting thing. We don't want this innovation being driven offshore. Right now, like I said, the leading stablecoin issuer is offshore. I think that you will see this be a new US-based payment system that emerges online.
And yeah, I mean, listen, I think that this stablecoin bill is going to really, really provide the much needed clarity for the stablecoin market. I think that we're going to see stablecoin issuers really start to ramp up, stablecoin use cases, even releases as well, minting, right? I think that we're going to see a lot of stablecoins being minted because of the demand that will hit this market once we have clarity for stablecoins. Because you got to think about it like this, right? Outside of the US, there's a big need for cheaper payments, for cheaper cross-border payments, remittances, things like that. And stablecoins actually unlock that. Stablecoins are the perfect use case because just like we've always talked about with XRP in the past years, payments are plagued with so many inefficiencies today. Blockchain solves it. And that's why even David Saxs said, like, yeah, when we think about Bitcoin, when it first launched, when it first became a big deal, everyone thought it was going to replace fiat. In fact, blockchain actually complements fiat in a huge way. It speeds up transaction times. It lowers cost for transactions. It makes things a lot more transparent. This is where we start to see that financial revolution happen. And I think that this is where we will also start to see an accelerated push on stablecoins. I mean, you got to remember, right? Just recently, back towards like the end of May, we just looked at stablecoin supply versus the M2 supply. 1.1% of the US dollar supply is now tokenized as stablecoins. With a stablecoin bill getting fully passed through and clarity for the space, this number is going to grow significantly. And it's also at a time where almost every single big player is looking at launching stablecoins. We have JP Morgan looking to launch a stablecoin. We have big players like Walmart and Amazon wanting to launch a stablecoin. And also on top of this, right, we also know back in November, actually, of 2024, stablecoins could grow to 10% of the US money supply. That's what Standard Chartered and Zodiac Markets said. These are two players that actually utilize Ripple tech and have partnered up with Ripple. I mean, Zodiac Markets is also a part of Standard Chartered. It's like a subsidiary of theirs, but they're already tapped in with Ripple custody. But they're already predicting that 10% of the US money supply could be in stablecoins. Already 1.1% is. If we're going to look at this, right, and say, all right, well, within the next 5 years, if we're going to see clarity for stablecoins, in the next 5 years, yeah, this could easily grow 9.9%. That's not crazy to think of, especially with how fast stablecoins have been growing and how big they have, really become. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about in just the last 2-3 years. I mean, I mainly go back to November of 2022, right? Stablecoins had a very bad name to them. They left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially after, Terra Luna, right? After Luna crashed, all of a sudden nobody wanted even to look at stablecoins. They were like, where do I park my money at? What do I do? Are stablecoins even safe right now? And then fast forward, 2-3 years later, it's upcoming on 3 years. Fast forward that far into the future, it's not even that long. Stablecoins are everywhere. We're now having clarity for stablecoins in the US become a reality. I mean, it's crazy how fast things can change, which is why I said, everyone is underestimating what can happen in just 12 months in this space. We watched price action in this market skyrocket in just 1 month. Think about what can happen in 12 months outside of price action and more fundamental. Going forward, if we get these bills passed, if we actually see this fully pass through, it's not even just stablecoin legislation, it's also market structure legislation. If both of these pass by the end of August, crypto is going to erupt. I'm not talking about price action. There will definitely be a lot of price action tied to it, but we're talking about adoption here, integration, the volume, the value, the amount of new users. I mean, this entire market is set for massive, massive adoption, massive growth. And I know that it sounds, too good to be true, but regulations, like clarity, is the biggest thing that we're waiting for right now. This is like the last major step to really kind of focus on. And if the US is the first one to really get all of this fully pushed through, every single other nation is going to fall in line. This will accelerate the global push on crypto clarity, on stablecoin clarity, and we're going to see a global eruption of this tech. So with that being said, I hope that guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.